And when you start your designs, do you start ba with a pencil sketch or do you go straight na kaagad to the details? Welcome to Coffee and Comics, and now I am joined by Paul. He is the designer for Tablay. We had a talk before with Kat Olan, the writer, the creator, and now we have the designer. Paul, what was your main influence in designing this amazing IP?
My first experience drawing for Tablay was when it was still a novel. And
Ito yun,
Kat commissioned me
Ano yun?
for...
She gave you a copy of the book? Tapos...
No, not yet. It was still just the briefs, as she said.
Okay. We have a heckler in the
so
house,
I didn't really have an idea what the story was. It was just what she wanted me to draw, and it was the aswangs, but as Mecha. So yeah, it's the designs you'll see in the annex section of the book.
I see.
And I think there was like five designs that she wanted me to make, and they were all based off our Filipino myths called aswangs, right? And yeah, that was my first foray into working with Kat for Tablay.
Right.
And yeah, after that, I think she was just sort of promoting. The book came out, and then she just kept promoting it, and then it got enough traction for her to proceed with the graphic novel.
Right.
And then that's where she came back and contacted me and to work on the graphic novel. And I guess around that significant time has passed, and I've sort of gotten more comfortable with the stuff I wanted to draw, and I really like to draw
Mecha.
basically Mecha, and just more of anime, the style, more of like Japanese art.
Let me guess, you're a gunpla guy.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
I can smell it.
Yeah, and so
I can smell the plastic.
So my influences, I guess, to cover first was for the aswangs. Basically, the initial thought I had was that they had to be organic, but they still had to be basically mechas. So my influences were like the shape design or shape language. Of like the Ava. Yeah, and a bit of like the Beastmen from Gurren Lagann.
Oh.
So those enemies. That's why I'm not sure where is it obvious in the other designs. So I did the stuff where they have like faces in the chest area, but I didn't want to make it too heavy-handed. So I tried to implement it in my own way. So yeah, you see a lot of early Gurren influences on the designs.
Is that your biggest influence, Gurren Lagann?
I guess it's since they're also the enemies, and so it was like a mesh of like Ava design and the Beastmen from Gurren.
Okay.
So yeah,
those are your biggest Japanese influences.
I think in terms of like Japanese influence, it's expanded over the years. I sought out specific mecha artists or their mecha work, stuff like Yoshinari, Hajime Katoki. So yeah, even the stuff from Eva. I'm not sure. Yoji Shinkawa's designs, and the UC mobile suits. So yeah, that was my influence. And when I did the graphic novel, I even got to draw even more of the mechs, since I was also the one tasked to draw San Telmo, the main mech.
Right.
So for that one, it's clearly like for me,
May pagka Gypsy Danger.
yeah, it was Gypsy Danger. But I wanted to in for my style, I wanted to infuse basically Gundam. So that's why I put in like the more angular shapes.
Right.
For the graphic novel approach.
Pati ba yung weapons design was also your, or everything was designed by you?
I think basically, yeah, it all of the concepts had to go through me, so I had to sort of synchronize since the start of Tablay had different designers.
So Mark,
Yeah.
I
see.
the enemy design.
Oh, I see.
So now Paul took it over for the graphic novel to put his own style in.
Buti you were able to sleep knowing there's someone designing your robot.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, they're all very talented people.
May tiwala ka.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Kita naman, I mean, the talent's there. So, Paul, what is your process? How do you go about designing your designs, your robots?
The way I remember it, I reviewed Kat's briefs and
Through ano lang to? Through text?
yeah, it was text and images that she sent over me. And actually, around the time she commissioned me, I really loved Mecha, but I wasn't really drawing it as much.
Okay.
It was like really early on when she saw my Mecha art.
Yung
that was like
Evangelion take mo.
that was like one of my earliest.
Can we link it here? Let's link it. If you want to check it out, you can.
Mecha efforts. I mean, like looking at it now, I cringe a little because of how how artists see their old work and stuff. But yeah, that was one of my. It was really early on, so doing this wasn't really. It was still pretty close to how late I did that one. So I felt I was still sort of figuring out my style in drawing mecha.
Right.
So yeah, but I'm really glad that somehow the designs have held up. I even had the chance to sort of meet one of my local mecha artist idols.
Sino?
If I don't know if you guys know him, his name is Erico Pedohan, Eco 999. So I was like early art station days. I saw his stuff and it's like, oh, he's Filipino. It's like so cool. There's not much mecha artists.
There's a lot of robot designers, mecha artists and cartoons that are Filipino. Not a lot of people don't know it. Transformers is Filipino.
Oh.
Floro Derry designed Transformers. Unicron, diba, Ma'am Sherry? I mean, do you guys remember that? He even came here a long time ago nung unang Toy-Con pa ata yun. It was Floro Derry. Unicron, Galvatron, all those. Floro. Yeah, it was Floro Derry.
All from migration of the Filipino illustrators from comics.
Yep.
They went into animation.
Yep.
Most of them part of the team.
Yep.
Today I learned.
Diba? Grabe, no? And that's one of the
yeah.
biggest properties ever is Transformers. And Filipino. Voltes 5 Legacy designer, Filipino. Well, not obviously, but he even hangs out here. And so there's a lot of we're not just known for mecha or robots. Di tayo kilala. Kilala tayo sa mga magic, di ba?
I think you have Marvel, DC stuff, ganun. Yeah.
But thank God for Tablay. At least na meron ng shining light with
I felt
mecha.
like it was still a niche. I feel like
It is a niche. I think
for
it's
like
still a
mecha local mecha artists. So I didn't really for me. I was really inspired by like the Japanese ones.
Kailangan kasi tabunan yung resiklo eh.
We don't talk about that here.
Don't talk about that here. My God.
But yeah, I think Tablay is a good effort into like showcasing Filipino sci-fi.
What if Bong Revilla
in a better light?
Yeah, I know. What if Bong Revilla wants to star in Tablay? He'll give you $1 gazillion.
Tablay
I'll give you 100 million pesos.
Tablay X Reciclo.
Basta ako yung bida ng Tablay. ako tanggalin na gender swap.
Oh my gosh.
Gender swap na yan.
We're gonna make a secret spin-off that no one knows about. So it'll never make the light of day.
Hindi pwede. Kailangan Tablay. Kailangan ito. So anyways, how do you what software do you use? Can we ask that? I mean, how do you
I started drawing with Photoshop like early on in my art career, but I really got used more and more drawing digitally with Clip Studio. So I really started out as a traditional artist, so I draw like pen, ink, scanning, coloring. So I came late with like working with like a drawing tablet.
Right.
So when I think when I got Clip Studio, I was exposed to that when I was still interning at Digital Art Chefs. Sir Ilog introduced that to me. It was still like called Manga Studio. But yeah, it was really the better program for me.
Right.
So the experience felt more natural. So I got used to that until it's basically what I mainly work on. But recently, I also work on my iPad But still, it's still Clip Studio.
Okay,
So that's
okay.
really my
Okay.
go-to software.
Na hindi pirated. Wala naman
Yeah.
natang pirated dun. Huwag
I
kayo
wanted to
mag-pirate,
buy it when I was really able to. So as soon as I was able
But
to.
hanggang ngayon ba you still use pen and ink or you still use paper?
Not
anymore.
so much. I mean, I wish I had the time since it's good to have something physical,
Oo.
an artwork that's physical.
Hindi mo
I mean,
nami-miss. Oo.
I do miss it. I do miss it. It's nice to see your artwork be printed. But yeah, I mean, I guess the only reason I stopped working traditionally was that the time crunched or the time needed to make something more with traditional means. So I think if I had to do this with like pen and ink, it would take
Tagal
much
na,
time.
no?
And
Totally
I'm
effort.
really more efficient now with
Ano yan, medyo
digital. Yeah.
slowly dying breed na yan, ano? Yung pen and ink talaga, ano? Slowly
I mean, if
dying breed.
if you really have the time and resources, so like go for it.
And when you start your designs, do you start ba with a pencil sketch or do you go straight na kaagad to the details?
Around this time, I was already working fully digitally.
Oo.
So yeah, I sketched out all in digital and finished all the
Oo.
thing in
And your
digital.
process is skeleton muna. How do you...
Basically, my experience was that I would really draw like the rough. Actually, I think for this one,
Diretso na.
I did it like I explored their silhouettes. So
Oo.
it was like 3 variants of like different proportions of the design. So I didn't really focus on what it looks like. It's more of like what the silhouette or like the outline of it looked like. And then Kat would be like a cycle between Kat choosing and then me fleshing out the design further and further.
So you'll do samplers of silhouettes muna.
Yeah. With like rough, like maybe this design's headgear is like bigger, that one is like smaller, and then she just sort of decide which one looks best for.
Okay.
So I provided those options,
Okay.
and then when we got close to it, around like 3 cycles of like the design process, I do the final, which is like just adding
The elements
all of
na.
the details.
The details
and,
na.
since those are like, I feel like they don't really matter as much
Yung-
versus the silhouette or like
Yung
the,
pinaka-theme, yung pinaka-big picture.
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
That's right. Yung,
So-
yung details na. Pero it matters also kasi with some people like me, I would always ask, ba't may host dito?
yeah.
Diba?
Smoke.
Baka maputol yan pag sa battle.
Yeah.
Diba?
Yeah, I remember the feedback I had from like Sir Echo. He said like he'd make the lower half more heavy set, so like more like
Got it.
thicker limbs,
Got it.
stuff like that. I think he even actually did that version.
That's one of my biggest gripes diba? Si Bane, naiinis ako kay Bane. Paano ba talunin si Bane? Putulin mo yung host. I mean, that's so stupid. So, when you plan to when you do your planning in the details, ano yan, meron ka na naka-ready na elements or you just go straight on? O meron ka pang element study like, I'll put here like a battery pack, I'll put here like
I guess it's all in service of the silhouette.
Oo.
So as long as it's a detail I added that doesn't take away from the like approved silhouette,
Right.
I added in.
Okay.
And if it helps define, since this is just line art,
Oo.
so I don't really add for these designs. I
Oo.
didn't really add like shading or hatches.
Oo.
So they had to work purely out of like the line art. So I tried to add in those details that would help the viewer see the form.
Right.
So that was I guess I didn't really know that outright then, but yeah, I think that's the logic with how I did my designs.
I love it. I don't know. I'm a big fan of giant robots. I'm a really, really big fan. And speaking of which, the new Grandizer is almost done. Actually, tapos na pala siya. And I'm watching it. I'm going nuts over it. So if you guys love old 70s robots, check out that new Grandizer. And of course, check out Tablay. And you can check it out here. Browse through it here in Coffee and Comics. You can waze it. It's here in number 23 Panay. We're in the second floor. It's a bit hidden, but pag nahanap nyo, I'm telling you, di na kayo aalis dahil pwede kayo matulog dito. And wag ka muna. Yeah. yeah.
Overnight.
I have a blanket. Yeah. So yeah, check it out. And if you're lucky enough to catch Paul here hanging out, pwede na kayo magpa-sign, get a copy and get it signed by the artist himself, or if the creator is here also, diba, swertihan na lang. So yeah, check it out. It's a great read. I'm telling you, I have high hopes for this Bong Revilla movie. Reciclo 2, the story of Tablay. Okay, anyways, thanks guys. Thank you so much. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Bye.
You.